Hey everyone. So, you know that gold that is dropped in some of the information you receive? And sometimes we step over the gold. We miss the gold. We miss the value in things that are being presented to us. However, when you're really aware and you pay attention to what's actually presented to you and given to you or that you're learning, you find the gold. There's so much gold and so many lessons we have around us, and I've learned to pay attention to that gold more and more. And so it's interesting. There's several things that happened over this last weekend, being at the AJC coaching school, that has really landed heavy with me. Part of that's the being, part of that's the learning, part of that's the serving, part of that's the gifts that we receive and give, and wow, so much. So I'm going to start with the story that happened on the way back from London yesterday. And one of the things we talked about this over the weekend was really acknowledging people and helping people understand how much you know that they're doing and what they're doing. And so when it came to the flight from London back to the States, where we landed in Newark, the stewardess that was helping me went back and forth a couple of times. And when she came back one time, I gave her huge acknowledgement. I was like, hey, you know what? Her name was Sarah. I'm like, Sarah, I really appreciate how hard you're working. You know, you're on your feet all day. This is a long flight. You're going to be on your feet. I know not all the passengers are very nice or kind. You know, some are very demanding. I just want to say I think you're doing a great job, and I really appreciate all you're doing. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's so sweet. That's great." So when she came back another time, you know, I bought some chocolate bars before I left Florida, and I had a couple more in my bag, and I was like, "Hey, you know, as a sign of my appreciation, do you like chocolate?" And she's like, "Oh, I love chocolate. I love chocolate." I'm like, "Would you allow me to give you this gift of this chocolate bar?" She's like, "Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That'd be wonderful. I just want to let you know that I appreciate how much you're doing." And although it wasn't my intention, it created, I was literally just showing appreciation. It created what I call the hover factor, where this woman literally came back to my seat probably every 20 minutes to check on me and see how I was doing. She wasn't talking to anybody else. She would like go right to my seat and say, "Hey, can I get you something else to drink? Do you want something else to eat?" The only time she was really interacting with others is when she was actually pushing the cart. And all of this from just showing some honest, sincere appreciation. So think about where in your life you can do that. Now, I'm not saying carry chocolate with you everywhere. However, you can always acknowledge somebody. We spend our lives thinking about the one negative thing about a person. Oh my God, that person irritated me with this. Well, what if you thought about the 9 out of 10 things that they did right or they did that you didn't get irritated by? The things that you can acknowledge them for. And that is something that can really be huge. And I found that out today when I got back to work, where, you know, the company I work for, there's tons of negativity and tons of things that I could complain about every day, and I have. However, when I came in today, I came in with this new set of visions, a new set of attitude, and I focused on the things that I appreciate about people and acknowledge that versus the things that might irritate me. And it made a huge difference. Today was wonderful because of that. And so think about that, where you can do that, whether it's a career, whether it's your business, where can you actually give acknowledgement and help people see the value that you see in them? Because I guarantee you, almost every person in your life, you see some value in. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in your life. Whether it's a job, whether it's your friends, your family, whatever, there's always some value there. However, we tend to, as human beings, not to acknowledge the value that we see in people. We tend to acknowledge the negativity. Oh, shit, why did you do that? Why? Well, come on. You know, what about, ooh, I'm really pleased about the way you did this. Really pleased about the way you acted here, how you talked to this person there. Think about how you could acknowledge people for the best. Help them become better people while you're making yourself a better person at the same time. So that's one of the things. The other thing is my friend Constantine gave a talk on Sunday. I'm sorry, Monday at our AJC school. And there was several things he said that were great, that really landed with me, but there was one specific thing that really landed with me. He was talking about a conversation he had with somebody else at the school, and this person was talking about a leader that she looked up to. And he said, "What if there was nobody to look up to?" And I was like, wow. And what he was really getting at is that There are no pedestals. There are not these people. There's not these celebrities. No, there's none of that. We are as good or better. We are all equal as far as what we can offer, who we are. We're just as powerful as that person you may look up to. We are just as powerful here, but you have to know that and you have to believe that and you have to live that. And what was more powerful about that particular statement was earlier that morning, before we started that day of class, a friend of mine who I've known for a while, but met at the school for the first time in person, she said to me that morning, she's like, Tony, you brought such energy this weekend. I'm so happy that you're here. You've made this weekend. She's like, the way you speak to people, the way you help people, the way you serve people. She's like, when I think of Tony Robbins, I think of you. She put me at the same level as Tony Robbins. And at the time, I just said, thank you for noticing. Thank you very much. In my mind, I wanted to downplay it. Like, no, I'm not that good. But I didn't. I didn't, because I also believe in speaking into your world and speaking the positive into your world. So I just said, thank you very much. And I would love to have given her an acknowledgement as well. And I have later. But at the time, I was so struck that I was so conscious about not downplaying what she just said that I just said, thank you. That's so amazing. Thank you so much for that. And then 30 minutes later, Constantine talks about what if there was nobody to look up to? And I was like, wow. He just said in a different way what this woman, Olga, had said to me earlier. You're at that level. You are at that level. Now, you might need some help or some assistance or some coaching or something to get you to believe you're at that level and to act at that level. However, we are all at that level. So think about that where in your life you're doubting yourself, where you're kicking your own butt. That's a story for another day, but I'll tell you a story about how Ankush actually told me, stop kicking your own A. And it snapped me out of it. It snapped me out of some things I had going on. And then to have this happen this weekend where they're like somebody comparing me at the level of Tony Robbins, and then following that to have, what if you didn't have somebody to look up to? We put people on pedestals, whether it's leaders, coaches, business owners, whatever it is. We go, oh, look at this person up here. Well, as soon as you do that, and I'm paraphrasing what Ankush told us, but as soon as you do that, as soon as you put somebody up here, you're putting somebody else lower. And what does that say about you? Think about that. Think about how you're presenting yourself or others if you put somebody up here, because then you're saying yourself and somebody else is down here. What if you did this? We're all here. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. So if you really want to get better for yourself, for your family, for your business, your career, for your life, think about that. Think about who you're being and how you're speaking to people. Oh, that brings me back to the next one. The other thing we talked about. There was 3 things written on the paper at the front of the room, the big tablet. And it started with yourself, others, and everything else. It said, how are you speaking about yourself? Are you speaking negative? Like, oh, I'm not that good at this. I could have done better here. I wasn't doing what I should be doing. Or are you saying, I am powerful, I am great, I am doing everything I need to do for my life and my family, I am strong. And how you speak about yourself is who you're being, and how you're being for everybody else in your world, regardless of what you do for a career, business, family. How you speak about yourself is how you're living your life, how you're living that world. Same thing about others. Next one was others. Are you speaking about others? Are you blaming others? Are you complaining about others? Are you saying others are this, that, and the other? Or are you saying, I love what that person did about themselves? Like I said earlier, acknowledge the thing that you like about the person. Are you speaking about people in a positive way? Are you talking about the good things you like about that person? Or are you beating them down? Even if not to their face, when you talk to others or talk to yourself, are you beating them down? Same thing about everything else. Oh my God, the economy, the gas prices, the blah, blah, blah. Or are you thinking about the good things? You know what? I am glad that I have a roof over my head. I love the fact that I can afford to have a roof over my head. I love the fact that I can get groceries. I love the fact, even if it might be a struggle, you're still talking about it in the positive sense. So these are all things about who we're being, how we're being, and how we're living our lives, and how we're going to serve others. So think about all those things. Think about all those things we just talked about here. Think about how to show acknowledgement. We talked about three major things here. How to show acknowledgement to people around you, even if they're strangers. How you can recognize the good they're doing, not get frustrated by the bad. Two, we're talking about how we're all in the same field. We're all on the same level. I don't care who you try to put on a pedestal, you're that level. You might need some help to get to that level or to recognize that you're at that level, but you're at that level. And three, how are you speaking to yourself about how are you speaking about yourself, about others, and about everything else? Those are three major things that you can use in your world to be that much better for yourself, for the people around you, for your business, your career, your life. So take a look at those. That's what I got for you today. That's a lot. Take it in. Breathe it in. Take it in. Acknowledge it. Use it. Implement it. And always remember, never forget to be schmaltzy. Take care, my friends.